And we're live and cameraless over here at Jason's station at the Meta Lab. Our episode 28. A whole lot of predicting going on today. So we have joining us Mike. What up? And Jordan, all dressed up and dapper in the Google Hangouts look.
I'm sorry. Who is this Jordan?
We got Professor
I'm Sir Heroclix.
Who is this Jordan? Speak up!
This is what happens when
I
we
have like a double-decker beard.
Make up for it.
Like one beard on top of the other beard.
Double beard. It's a double rainbow beard. All right. So I guess we could start me with a quick screen. We do have a couple previews to go over. So let's get started with the big old round lady, Miss Madame. So, Madame, she's got a trait, built for aggressive maneuvers. Madame can use running shot and can use the carry, but can't use the carry ability. If no opposing characters within line of fire, Madame can use sidestep. Her white movement power, her special movement power. Madame can use mind control. When she does and hits, after action is resolved, she can use penetrating psychic blast as a free action, but only to hit the target character regardless of range or line of fire. And then she's got a multitude of other powers, including Psychic Blast, Impervious, Outwit, and she's got some Force Blast in the middle, Late Dial, Pulse Wave, packed on top of a 5 range, and we got the Hydra team ability on top of this character. So we're just going to go back to our pump it and dump it. So, Mike, like or dislike?
I have and love.
Love. Love is a strong word for the lady.
Yeah, well, she can't do much about it with her, like, T-Rex arms, you know?
Jordan, do you like it or dislike it?
Caesar says dump it.
Dump it. Okay. Myself, I just say more range, but we can do that in the modern game.
Yeah.
So I'm in the middle. Slightly pumped, but slightly dumped. But we move on to the other one.
The robot.
The bruiser of the group, if you will, Mr. Hercules. So Hercules comes in at 220 or 130 points. His trait, strongest of the Olympians. Hercules can use super strength, but can't drop objects. If Hercules occupies hindering terrain at the beginning of your turn and isn't holding an object, you may roll a d6 and give him a standard object from outside the game. On a result of 1 to 4, it's a light object. On a result of 5 or 6, it's a heavy object. He's got a special movement power. He can use Charge and Flurry, and when he also ignores movement, or ignores hindering and blocking for movement and breaks through the blocking. And he's got a special attack power. He can use Plasticity. Each opposing character adjacent to Hercules modifies its attack and damage value by -1 if it has any action tokens. And he comes in at a 10-click dial on his 220-point click, and about click 5 is where he starts at 130. Indomitable on this character, classic Avengers team ability, and a multitude of keywords. Mike.
I like it. It's very cool. I like all the keywords. I like his 130-point dial better.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jordan?
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's brother. Pump.
Dump? What we said?
Pump.
Pump it, yes. Okay. Yeah, I like this guy. Heroes for Hire team ability, or ATA. That's all. Second attack, not losing too much. So, that said, the set has been leaked in other places, and I want to talk about anticipation. Now, Mike has had a chance to crack some packs in event. It is June 1st, so the event has started. So, Mike, you have pulled some stuff, but what are you anticipating more than what you pulled already?
Anticipating how? Like, well, what things?
What figures do you want to pull?
Oh, do I want to pull
forward?
I'd like a Vision, just because I like Vision. I do have a Hercules. I do have a Modam. Modam was my #1 want from this set, from what I've seen so far. So I got her because I think she's meta, yes, especially since she has the robot keyword. What else? I do want a Jocasta. I would really like a Jocasta. I'm not sure if there are other possessors in the set. I haven't really looked at any leaks or anything that have shown any other possessors.
I don't believe so.
What's that?
I don't believe so. Not for Wave 1.
Not well. There's probably one in Wave 2 then.
It's a possibility.
I wouldn't mind the Ultron Phalanx chase, actually. Specifically the Phalanx one. The 7 one I couldn't give a crap about. Oh, and I want Grey Hulk. Grey Hulk's really cool.
Okay. Jordan?
I
know you're not overall impressed with the set, but what are the figures that you do want from what you've seen?
For Wave 1, I'm really disappointed. Anything with the shield keyword, I think is fun to just add to the arsenal, like that. The She-Hulk. I want Quasar, but he's a super rare, so he's probably outrageously expensive, like everything in War of Light, and Jocasta because Iron Man exists.
Right. Okay. Now I remember there being a couple other characters. I believe Monica Chang also has a shield keyword. She's from the Avengers AI series. I'm not sure if they gave it to. Yeah, I'm not sure if they gave it to Victor Mancha or Alexis.
In a way, but if they
I think they've kind of aimed Avengers on that one. Myself, of course, She-Hulk because she's Hulk and green and part of the family. I am looking forward to the idea of pulling the Phalanx, but my luck with these event sets is not very good. I pulled, as far as the game was concerned, I pulled 0 super rares in Fear itself. I pulled none of the chases and 2 super rares in all of War of Light myself. And the only 2 super rares I happened to pull happened to be Kyle Rayner and Despotellus. So, War of Light was not pleasant to me. But, of course, I won a lot because they built the set properly for sealed, and the uncommons were unbelievably strong. Oh, no. Sorry, I pulled 3 super rares. Forgot I pulled Black Hand one.
Oh. This is a much smaller set than War of Light, though.
It's smaller than War of Light, slightly bigger than Fear itself. It's like having 2 Fear itself over 4 months.
It has a classic Avengers feel to it, just the sculpt-wise and a lot of the characters as well.
Right.
Doesn't really feel like anything contemporary.
Yeah. Now, we did happen to acquire ourselves our round tables early, and we will be doing a couple episodes with the round tables this week, including Amber's show Dial It Up and my show Metafix, and seeing how we can make this thing effectively work in the metagame. It's probably going to take time before it actually makes a splash, to be unfortunately brutally honest. But we're really looking forward to giving it a spin and looking into all the intricacies of it.
Well, it immediately beats the crap out of Pandora's Box and the Rock of Eternity.
Yeah, but so does the Penguin.
That's true. So does the Penguin.
Boom!
Boom!
Shots fired!
Take that.
And, yeah, you guys agree, right? Yeah, of course you do. So that said, as you can tell, we're a little bit goofy and giddy. This is the week of Worlds, and it's one of those weeks where we get to play predictors and play fun and wish well wishes on those who got a chance to go. Unfortunately, myself and Amber got hit with some financial issues and weren't able to go ourselves. Although we did have enough to sponsor a player. So good luck to Mr. Ryan Bell, and say hello to him while you're down there if you happen to be going to Worlds. He will be wearing some Married with Clicks or Metal Lab swag, depending on the day you catch him. So wish all the luck to him. I have been torturing him for the past couple weeks repeatedly and making him leave our house with his tail tucked between his legs, but it did work for him at Canadian Nationals, so we'll see if it works for him as well in Worlds. But I want to go into prediction mode. So we've seen a fair amount of meta as far as the ROC is concerned, be it local, be it in the ROCs in the States. We've seen nationals on multiple levels, although some of them were a little bit more limited than ours. Based on what you've seen, Mike, do you think we've already seen what's going to win, or do you think something new is going to come out of the blue?
Out of the blue. I think that what I see online on HG Realms, just listed in terms of teams and so on in various places, compared to what we have seen at our own like ROC events even recently. It's vastly different because the meta is so vast right now. And so I think we may end up seeing something that really, really surprises us. I don't necessarily think that Gloop is going to be the team that is run by the current, well, the U.S. national champion and U.S. and Canadian national champion for that matter. I'd be interested to see what last year's world champion runs as well. That's Patrick. But we may see something come out of Canada that we've already seen and really make a huge splash because, for instance, Ryan's team is very strong, and it's not necessarily the newest tech, but it has just been made stronger very, very recently. But I won't get into the details because it's his team, and I wouldn't want to give anybody an unfair advantage. I think that I would be really interested to see how I think Age of Ultron is actually legal for Worlds because it's the 10th, right?
Actually, they made an announcement ahead of time, and it's not legal because.
Oh, it's not legal.
Yeah, Worlds is actually this weekend.
Oh, right. So it's the 6th and 7th. Then.
Yeah, and it's the first right now. So, and Age of Ultron effectively releases today.
Yeah, that makes sense then because it wouldn't be legal until next Monday.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, if people can pull something out of Avengers Assemble, I haven't really seen much from Avengers Assemble make an appearance in any meta team lately. The OP kit Scarlet Witch is interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned in our last episode.
Yeah, we were talking about her last episode, and she apparently made some noise in one of the top 2 teams. Jordan, let's move on to your predictions as far as Worlds. Have we seen it, or do you think something new is going to show up, or do you know what's going to show up that's going to break the game?
I have a couple ideas of things that are probably going to show up. I mean, of course, the Scarlet Witch is going to show up. She's been making some noise before. We'll probably see Coriander again. We're going to see Jenny Sparks because I think at this moment, while not playing Gloop is necessarily the strategy, a lot of people have been making worse copies of it. It's like, hey, that's like Gloop, but worse.
But it has a different resource, and it doesn't work quite as well, but it still works.
Yeah.
It may be a team, it may work, it's just not as good. There's a reason why Kenny won twice. Whether he runs the same team again and just proves that he's a better player and he can run the same team and just smash everybody again, we'll have to see. I mean, Patrick switched up his teams and beat everybody, so, I mean, it comes to, what he decides to play. I know a zombie team base is going to show up. I really don't think enough people are playing green power batteries to even consider them counted out. So, essentially, that's my predictions. I would love to see anybody do something with Midnight Suns.
Well, yeah, it does still have a little bit of traction out there. There's still a couple characters that are still usable. I mean, the Damien Hellstorm is out there.
The new Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and the new Doctor Strange has Midnight Suns, and he's mystical along with another ton of keywords. So, and he's a huge lockdown character too. So he'll a lot of the abilities that if you roll any of the colors will definitely kind of slow down your opponent coming at you for that. Now, I'm going to just leave it on Jordan because his monocle, mustache, and crown is just beautiful, and my married with Clicks icon is wonderful, but I'm not going to keep it up for you guys to stare at. Now, myself, I've heard a couple things brewing around, and what I can guarantee you're not going to see now is the Sandhopper team. I'm going to guarantee that now because I will announce this rule change right now. They actually made a major rules change, which we'll discuss in detail a little later, but the Sandhopper doesn't work anymore. But that does open up the door to a couple other ideas that basically make me think of the Greased Up Deaf guy from Family Guy, because there's a couple characters that can be removed from the map, and part of their liability was if the rest of your team was dead, they're gone. Well, now, I think there was a Flash, was it from Teen Titans, that had an ability where you could pop them off the board and jump back on the board? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, all of a sudden you're starting to hear the words, "Never going to catch me," as that flash runs around the board, without the unfortunate problem of dying while you're out there. I do predict the ID cards are going to be on some teams. I don't think they're going to be the game breaker, but with the 5 points that you can use on them, in some cases there's a few cases where the where the ID cards are more useful than, say, just jamming an extra construct on a battery in some cases.
Yeah, like triathlon, for instance.
Yeah, like you're saying, their triathlon can bring out 6 damage potentially. Now, granted, he's got a hit, and your opponent has to have nothing going on as well. But that's something that happens.
And you automatically give them 5 points, so could put yourself in a bad position if he doesn't hit.
But when it comes down to it, 5 points versus 6 damage, there's a lot of characters in 300 points that just die to that amount of damage.
Yeah.
Oh, 100% worth the risk.
As well, I do expect to see a lot of Omega Greed. And that's a greed with the Omega Drive, with either an Ion or an Ophidian on him, to just do some ridiculous outwitting, because one of the things that really can make that gluttony fall is the ability to outwit his defense power or just outright ignore it. So
just heal it all together, right?
Yeah, because Jenny Sparks was great because she hit him and then got past it, whereas the greed Omega Drive outwits it and gets rid of it for everybody to attack. So there's a lot of potential in that going out there. I know some people have talked to me about how it scares them with regards to how they're going to be playing out their team. I just got a message actually from Kenny Pena while we were talking about that, saying Grasshopper is strong, or strong. He is pretty potent. Because him on his own can potentially increase the length of the game. Holy smokes! Questions are coming in fast now, guys. Now, I do want to address this rule now before we go much further. And that rule that was changed was originally, if there was one side had no characters on the map, then the game would end, and then you'd tally up your points, etc., and end the game from there. And of course, the Grasshopper Sandman combination was play 2 Grasshoppers and a Sandman. Turn 1, pop them all off the map. Let's go to a roll-off for a 50-50 chance at winning. Nerfed by a simple errata that states that characters not being on the map, it's not having any more characters left on your force. So, yeah. Thoughts? Is this good for the game? Bad? Different for the game? Is it just kind of a minor thing that it seems to me to be a minor change to fix something that could have been rotten in a major tournament?
It's a squeaky effing turtle cheek fix.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Jordan?
I think it saves the game from a problem and the game becoming stale. Certain strategies that become too prominent become very quickly like, hey, if people just decide to play this, the game's ruined. We have to fix this.
Yeah.
So they just do it. I think it was a good choice.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't too much of a shocker, to be brutally honest. So let's take it a little local, because we do actually have, with the 3 of us on the show, we have 3 different opinions from different directions and different angles, camera angles, if you will, of the Winamap event that we had on Saturday at the Comic Warehouse. Now, of course, the Winamaps, ROC events, the general idea is the competition it's a healthy place to have major competition and to play hard. So I'm going to start with Mike. From the player's perspective, how was the event? What surprised you? What was what was the least surprising, most surprising, and weirdest thing about the whole thing?
Well, first of all, I really enjoyed the event. and ended up placing very well. I came in fourth, which was pretty good for me, for someone who's as young in the game as he is, and as I am, rather. And there was one thing that surprised me, and it was an orange battery ruling, because I had been taught to, I guess, that the orange battery worked in a particular way, and it actually doesn't in regard to barrier, for instance. So you use the emotional spectrum power to click and turn off, like the power action, to turn off one of your opponent's power. So they can't use it. That's the actual wording. And I thought that would mean that the barrier would come down, when in fact it doesn't. It means that it stays up, but they can't use it on their next turn, because it's still on their dial. That's why when you damage them and they click along, the barrier goes away because they no longer possess the power. So that was a game-breaking mistake on my part, and actually ended up with me losing that match and getting knocked out of the top 4 at that point by Ryan. I had him on the ropes the whole time too. It was great. It was a really interesting matchup. I'm not going to mention what his team is again, because I mean you can look it up if you really want to. But I know that it's his tack, and he really wants to. He's been working on that for a while. Yeah. Let's see. Beyond that, surprised me. I don't know. There wasn't really a whole lot that super surprised me. There were some really interesting kind of homebrew creative teams that just didn't quite cut it, and I guess that's normal for about maybe half of the competition. There was some net decking as well. Like there was a semi-gloop team that apparently was supposed to be a homebrew. Okay, if he figured out that combination and was going great, but it just seems like, well, this has been around for a while, and in fact it won X, Y, and Z major competition. How would you not know about it? I guess when you're at this level of play. But that's my own opinion, right? That's based on my own level of exposure, and I do have a lot of exposure to the game and to some of the players.
Hey, that looks like Gloop, just worse.
Just with a different resource, yes.
Maybe different entities,
Yeah, exactly.
And I just want to point out, Spencer is actually the guy that played a very similar build at Canadian Nationals.
Yeah.
So just to kind of add to that little bit of flavor.
Yeah, he had played that before. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just going to interrupt you very briefly. We actually have a special guest joining us on the show out of nowhere. And he's also a voiced man himself, because we have camera issues. Kenny Pena is joined with his lovely voice on the show. Say hello to everybody, Kenny.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
Hey Kenny, man, how are you?
Thanks for joining us. So Kenny, I don't know if you've been watching, but we were just talking about a local ROC we had here. I don't know if you've checked out our blog and where we got a listing of the top 8. But I'm gonna link you to that right now while I get. Mike, were you done?
Done.
Oh, Jordan just got it in the chat there for you. Sorry, Mike, continue on.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I love the way you guys run events as well. I mean, this is the second one map that you guys have actually run, and it's very smooth. The pricing is fantastic. Like, I won a weird at a local win-a-map, where you'd go and you'd expect to come in fourth and get a pair of dice and a couple points, couple TGC player points. So that was a nice bonus on top of everything else. And beyond that, I mean, great little venue. That's the Comic Warehouse in Brampton. And I look forward to the next one. I'm looking forward to this weekend, though. I'm looking forward to going to the second in our series of 4 Win-A-Maps. This weekend we've got the one at Comic Book Addiction in Whitby. Then we've got Conspiracy Comics in Hamilton the following weekend. And then it's Wizards Cash here in Toronto on the Sunday, the Sunday the 21st. And then the 27th is Provincial, so it's just boom, 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 all in a row. And it's going to be really, really, really fun and a little bit tiring, but kind of great. I'm really looking forward to it all.
Okay. So, Jordan, from an outsider's perspective, did you get a chance to look at the top 8?
I'm looking at it right now and did before.
Okay. So, what didn't surprise you? What surprised you? And what do you think is weird? And you only get the top 8 to work with, unfortunately, because you weren't there for the event to see all the other teams.
Well, 7 and 8 place, no knock to the players in whatsoever. Their teams were weird, and I do not expect them to really make a splash anywhere else. It seemed like local meta was the reason for them making the top 8. I was not there. There could have been extreme competition from every single player, and these guys battled it out way better than everyone else with their crazy-ass teams. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't think they're quite the caliber that major tournaments that Worlds will see. 6th place is also another team that I really like. Seems to just slip a little short, especially when you match it up to, say, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st.
Right.
What they can actually do to outlive 6th place's team is where I really like. I like Dr. Fate against, say, any special power characters, because she works like Jenny. And for the time being, Dr. Fate's still modern. So he's got that going for him. I really like the team. I just think it's missing a little bit, with Question being a little bit lackluster.
Okay.
And the top 5, I really think, were solid teams that I would see in the top 8 generally. Maybe local meta pending.
Okay. Cool. Kenny, have you had a chance to read through enough, or should I start going before getting your opinion?
I got the gist of it.
Okay.
What I really liked, I agree with Jordan. It's the number 6 team because I love Dr. Fate.
Mhm.
I mean, he's on a team. That's great. He dies real fast and whatnot, but what he can do, he can be really disruptive. So creative thinking right there, outside the box. I mean, that's always helpful. I know the top 5 or rather top 4 players I got to meet in Canada: Ryan, Spencer, and Mike. Ryan's team, I expect to see that. It's Greed, 67 points, all of a sudden turns to 175-point Tachyon. It's hard to say that's not a good thing. I mean, I got to meet Spencer, and when he played, I even got to play this version of the team. I'm not a fan of it, but he got 2nd place. It's very strong still. And it kind of touches on what Jordan was mentioning earlier, how people were playing that Gloop team that guy made, and playing other versions of it that are not as good. I think this, but you know what? Even though it's not as good, it's still pretty potent.
Oh, without a doubt.
Number 3 kind of surprises me. I mean, Super Strong Lydia works, but this guy went with Ophidian and Voodoo, so he took away the whole theme thing. He got 3rd place. It's obviously doing pretty well. But that was a little surprising that he took something that does work so well and tried to make it a little different.
Yeah.
Those are pretty much my biggest things I take away from this list.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to take the advantage away from Jordan and Kenny, and I'm going to start with my weirdest team. And I had to yell at Tom again because this guy brings the coolest teams and gets 9th place every time, so he doesn't make the cut to the top 8, and it upsets me. Tom's team, and where I get weird is when I have to explain in a second. He had Black Swan with Parallax, Power Ring with Ion, a Mutant Protester, and a Triathlon ID card. Meaning he had a Cosmic Theme team with +4 to his roll. Pretty fantastic. The unfortunate part is because he put an entity on Black Swan, Parallax is not going to go away before Black Swan gets to that last click. So even if Black Swan gets to that last click, he'll never be able to trigger it because technically Parallax is still part of his force.
Yeah. I realized that day of, during, and I was like, it's horrible.
Yeah,
That's a thing. Oh, no.
At one point, somebody asked me a rules question where, would you feel bad if this thing happened? And I asked Amber to make the face she made when she had to tell Tom that.
Yeah.
As far as least surprising thing, I have to say the first place team, because I've been working with him for as long as I have been, with getting his tech ready. Because I've been the one that beats up on Ryan when it comes to his practice games. But one of the things that really caught me about Rory's version of the Hulk split lip combo, because I've heard of it before, I've seen it described, used, explained. People have done this before. But what he did was he dropped a couple hammers in order to get the Secret Avengers team ability, or a alternate team ability, in order to protect his Hulk a little bit more from Outwit, because one of the things this Hulk is susceptible to is powers being countered. Now, granted, it adds the rage tokens, but it could get rid of that stop click at the worst possible time. So he kind of semi-protected himself on that. And, seeing this get to the top 8 actually made me smile a lot. That's not to take away from a lot of the teams that were there. There's some really neat ideas across the board that I got a chance to see. Some really cool teams that, behind a more experienced player, could have done a lot more damage than they did do. Special note to Emily Rowett for a really, really cool-looking experimental team that's hyper-aggressive. It was the Book of Skulls with Johnny Quick and Falcon with some entities, Split Lip, Star Lab techs, and a couple ID cards to add to all of that. So there's a lot of creativity in this area, and that was really good to see some of it come out in that tournament. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to actually play on Sunday with my big furry team. Now, we've already had our chance to talk about it. Kenny, well, let's get your opinions going in. I mean, you're obviously, this is what's on your mind going into I believe it's actually this weekend with Worlds.
What's happening this weekend?
a big tournament, I hear.
Nothing at all.
So, what do you expect to see, and what do you expect to? Do you think what's going to win is going to surprise something that nobody's seen before, or have we already seen what's going to win?
I mean, I'm thinking that I'm going to win. I would like to think that, so hopefully it's something that no one's seen before. But
So Kenny's building something that nobody's seen before.
Yeah.
That's actually technically that's probably not true. But no, I think we're going to see a lot of different things. Meta has been set in a way. We have the Duke team. Highfather Greed's been making some noise. Jenny Sparks is running around now. Things are kind of set in motion, in place. People could always fall back to Zombie Super Scroll. Team bases are being played now. Whether it's Justice League with Superman, Wonder Woman, or just zombies in different point variations and how you complement it. So you can't prepare for everything. So there's going to be those few people that try to bring something so wacky outside the box that it catches people off guard. To predict who's going to win or what's going to win, that's a tall order. I think you'll see some more teams that you won't recognize, and you will though. That's my feel for it for this weekend.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear from somebody who's going to be in the fold and their opinion. So in the meantime, I'm going to move. Actually, you know what, Kenny, I want your opinion on this too because you're late to join.
Okay.
Age of Ultron. What are you excited, or what do you really want to pull in regards to that set? Have you seen any figures that make you go, I want that now?
Let's see. I have seen some of the figures. I can't say I paid too much attention to it since I know it's not legal. The things that really do stand, Jocasta, but I know she got previewed a while ago.
Yeah.
And there's some really good support characters. Like if I'm playing in a sealed, I want myself what's her name? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. Elect, yes, and Monica Chang. Those two. There's so many, all those Ultrons running around, whether they're 30 or 60 or 90 or 100, whatever they are. They're ridiculous. So to just be able to control the board with that, those are the pieces I look forward to.
That 30-point Ultron's pretty cool for like 11 attack at 30 points. It's pretty great.
I mean, and if you pull the Crimson Cowl Ultron and give the Master, it's the Master of Evil one for the leadership. It can get pretty. If someone gets that and a lot of different little Ultrons, that's going to be pretty ridiculous.
Excellent. So, you know what? I'm going to give the viewers who are watching right now a little bit of chance to fathom the fact that you just kind of popped up out of nowhere, Kenny. And we do thank you for joining. But I want to direct some questions specifically for you.
Okay.
As far as the training regime, have you been losing sleep getting ready for Worlds? Have you been practicing more, or have you actually starting to dial it back as we're getting closer to the event?
I've been practicing a lot. I've been trying to force my teammates to come practice out just as much as I have. So I can't say I'm losing sleep over it, but it's definitely on my mind. It's definitely something that I'm prepared for. I do think about it. Do I dream about it? Maybe a little bit. I don't know. But it's crunch time now, so I don't think. Maybe you know what? I might even play test in the hotel room with my teammates as Tuesday and Wednesday roll around. So till the very last second, might take advantage of all the time I have.
Right. Get all those little intricacies out of your team. I understand that.
Yes.
Actually, my last practice session with Ryan was just this past Friday, but then he also got a whole tournament to practice on Saturday, and then
He won.
yeah. Spoiler alert. So I actually held the sponsorship that I'm giving him over his head about it. It's like, if you don't win, you don't get it.
Is he going to be drowning and married with Click's merchandise all around, or?
Well, he's going to have a couple T-shirts. It's just Ryan, and it wasn't as like it couldn't have gotten me or Amber out there. It's just a little extra to make sure that he could survive out there and eat. You could use a sandwich here or there. So while you're down there, Kenny, say hi to him. Give him a hug.
Oh, absolutely.
I guess we'll move on to user questions in the meantime, unless anybody else has anything you want to add to the show. Mike, Jordan?
Not really so far.
No? Okay.
I found out today that Mike Lazowski from Kick-Ass is Quicksilver, and it's like, wow. What a change.
Oh, Jordan.
Really old news.
Both
I was
Quicksilvers were in
surprised.
Kick-Ass. Don't forget that.
I literally saw Quicksilver, and I was like, is he in anything I've seen before?
Wow.
You should go watch Days of Future Past now and tell me where that Quicksilver's from.
Am I missing something?
Both Quicksilvers were in Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
Kenny, tell me you screenshotted that face.
I didn't. But
Especially
I like.
with the monocle, mustache, and crown, it would be perfect.
Oh, you're recording. This is live. We're recording this. We can pause it back and.
It's
get
on
it
the
back.
internet. And yeah, you're right. It is recording. It's getting archived on YouTube as we speak.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a meme out of that.
All right. So first question we have, Donnie Askey asks, I'd like to hear your opinion on the last prize kit consisting of President Luthor, Composite Superman, and Lobo. I know myself, Mike, and Jordan we did an episode already where we covered it, but
Yeah.
we got a new opinion on the show. Kenny, what do you think of Luthor, Composite Superman, and Lobo?
Love Composite Superman. Love, 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 love. Unfortunately, Slosh is going to get retired soon, so he's going to be bad pretty soon. But go
One
ahead.
more year, right? He's got one more year, right?
I think Slosh has been around for 2 years, so.
Flash was last year.
But it was last year in February, so it had 1 year. This is going to be the second year.
Yeah, but year 2 will finish next February.
Well, in any event, I'm not sure. I mean, with the whole venue change, who knows what they're gonna do? But if it's around, then I think Composite Superman's a pretty serious business.
That'd be a really severe cut if they did cut it up to Slosh. Like, that'd be very severe. We would lose a huge.
And then that would also potentially mean the Captain America Winter Soldier set. And
Yeah.
they might just cut it right up to Deadpool.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off there, Kenny. Wow, that would be huge.
Yeah, but wouldn't. All right. So what do you? I'm sorry, we're kind of derailing here, but where do you think it would be cut off to then?
I thought it was going to be cut off at either just before Wolverine and the X-Men or Wolverine and the X-Men and everything before that, because that was the set that led up to the last 2 worlds ago, right? So I thought that the cuts would happen for whatever set was either at the beginning of August or the end of August. 2 years ago. That was just something that I think we've all kind of talked about a little bit here and there.
Yeah, based on the usual timing, we assumed it was going to be there, but now that it's so delayed, I think Kenny made a really good point that it could be cut right up to Deadpool very easily.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that would be crazy. That would have such a huge impact.
Actually, it could be cut up to War of Light, cutting out Days of Future Past, which you know.
Oh,
whatever.
you think they'd cut Deadpool?
I think so. Because technically Deadpool did have 2 years already.
Yeah,
and most
we
sets,
just got now because it came out 2 years ago in May.
yeah, but if you're thinking ahead next year, by the time we talk about this again next year, it'll be a third year, and it's just missed out.
I do just want
third
to
year
point out.
at Worlds, right? Like not third year, 3 years running. It would be
Yeah,
into the
just
third-
a second year that it's active at Worlds.
Right.
Teen Titans is getting an exception because of this whole delay thing. Teen
Right.
Titans should have been cut out easily if everything went according to plan. And Wolverine and the X-Men should have been the oldest set allowed.
Yeah.
So who knows? Like,
I'm not gonna lie. The more and more I as we get closer to July, I've actually been getting more aggressive as to how far I'm cutting my Modern Age. And personally, all I try to keep in as part of my major collection is Modern Age, and I can't fit what's currently in the Modern Age up to Wolverine and the X-Men. Like,
It's ridiculous.
Wolverine and the X-Men and older is still a huge modern metagame right now, and Kenny might be onto something where they might just do an aggressive cut because of the big change and how much they're releasing right now. I don't know. Like,
I mean, to be the guy no one likes at the moment right now, I thought they were going to cut War of Light to rush entities out. That would take out batteries and all that stuff.
No
So
way.
I thought, but I think definitely up to Deadpool safely. They would definitely cut out.
That's the really aggressive push in my mind. I think that would leave us with too little, unfortunately, if they cut out all the way to War of Light, because we'd be stuck with Guardians of the Galaxy. Not, I guess, stuck.
Yeah, the movie set, yeah.
We'd have Guardians of the Galaxy, Flash, Trinity War, Age of Ultron.
And Avengers Assemble.
Oh, sorry, Avengers Assemble. Ultron at the current moment isn't even technically legal, so we have 5 sets? I don't know, that seems really small for an entire modern.
Yeah, pretty few, but at the same time, by the time we get to next year's Worlds, we'll have everything from now until then as well. So we'll have
because we already know Superman and Wonder Woman's coming out, and then whatever sets come out between here and
Shield,
next Origins.
Superman.
I just feel like that would fill out.
There's, they're definitely producing little pieces of bits at a time.
Yeah, our usual modern, though, has always been around 14, 15 sets. That's the only thing, is if we cut it down to 5, we could fill it up 10 sets in the next year and then cut again. Just make sure we're cutting every year, not doing this delayed and then leaving out this mysterious blank of what's going to be cut, what's not going to be cut.
Yeah, I think what affects it the most right now is the fact that they're keeping to the July cut and move Worlds to May. Because usually Worlds is supposed to be Gen Con, and that's like July, August area, right? And now they've moved it to June, and they're still cutting in July. So usually Worlds is played on the newest modern meta, but now it's behind that. Yeah, it's like everything of the modern meta up to and including what's about to be cut. So
in that way, though, it kind of makes the modern meta more exciting for Worlds in particular, because you have so much to build from. But in the same light, it's more stagnant as well, because what would happen before Worlds previously is you'd have this big cut, and then people would have to build from what they had at that time. So people's long practice teams would be basically cut out, and they'd have to build something new.
Right. All right. So now that we've discussed on the composite Superman, Kenny, what do you think of President Luthor?
Oh boy, I kind of forgot what he did. President Luthor. I'm looking him up right now. He's neat. He's neat. I honestly forgot what he did. I'm sorry, guys. A character.
It's okay. I believe I got him right here. Okay. So he's got 2 traits. You're my best hope. During the first turn, choose a friendly character. During the beginning of your turn, give that character a free action and choose a number of distinct combat values equal to President Luthor's current click number. Each chosen combat value is modified by +1. Mm-hmm. So if he's on click 1, you get +1 to 1 stat.
Combat values on click 4 or 5, you could pretty much get +1 stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then $1 billion reward, give President Luthor a free action, and place a bounty token on an opposing character card of 50 points or more, removing any other bounty tokens on that force's card. A character with a bounty token on its card modifies its defense value by -1. During attacks, President Luthor is considered adjacent to any friendly character attacking or adjacent to an opposing character with a bounty token on its card. And from clicks 2 to 5, he has enhancement and empower, which is why that's relevant.
All right, so he's a global empower enhancer guy, pretty much.
Yes. And he comes in at 98 points.
That's a lot.
Yeah. In Justice League, Metropolis, Politician, Ruler, Scientist, Society, and Superman Revenge Squad is his keywords. He's 5 clicks, and all of them come with a defense power where he can use Mastermind, though he's considered to be 200 points when he uses it.
He's going to be fun for, fun events, maybe some scenarios and stuff like that. Competitively, that's a lot. I mean, what he does is pretty cool, but I think that's a lot, 98 points, because also you have to protect him as well. So if he's going to be across the map trying to do all this jazz, he's probably not going to be next to anyone to use the Mastermind. And there's a thing called Precision Strike that exists, so that's...
What are you talking about? Pink powers don't exist.
Yeah.
I sidestep your argument. Invalid.
Yeah. Let me go 3 and avoid. Let me go 3 and avoid that.
Oh, that's too funny.
My God.
He's, like I said, he's neat, but he's not super competitive. No.
Did you want to take a second to defend yourself there, Kenny?
With what?
Nothing.
You made a really funny comment.
Yeah. What about the blood drops from Lobo?
The blood drop, I think, that one I know a little bit better. That's a pretty brutal dial, kind of reminiscent of like most Hulks as they get stronger in the middle, then get weaker again.
Yeah.
But one more time, just too many points.
Yeah.
To be considered super competitive. But if you're playing a 400, 500 point game at your local venue or with your friends, then go for it, man. He's going to be a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I played with him recently. He's really fun. The blood drop clone thing that he does is just super, super fun.
Now, has anybody come across any erratas to this OP kit, or is this the first time we're all clear?
I'm sorry, what?
No, hasn't there been one to Luthor?
Has there been one to Luthor? I'm not sure.
Hold on a second, I'll look it up.
Because I know up to I think this one, there's been at least one errata per OP kit. I might be wrong about the Cheshire Black Canary Wonder Woman one. My bad.
I don't remember one for that one.
Yeah. Of course, because that's John Lynch, Sarah Rainmaker, Cheshire, and then Black Canary, Wonder Woman, Wonder Girl. So I think actually DC's been safe. I think it's Marvel, or maybe it's just a 2 OP kits.
DC did mess up big time with Speedy because they just forgot how to speak English.
Yeah. Oops.
So upsetting. He could have been so good. Permanent 12 attack.
Yeah, because Speedy, I know Speedy got a little bit of a touch up on his wording. It was the Emma Frost and Marvel said the White Queen or whatever. Was it Emma Frost or White Queen?
White Queen was errata big time.
Yeah.
Oh, because it would have been such stale gameplay.
In that case, like they really kind of wrecked her a little bit too much.
No, but even still, playing her and then playing, say, the Sandman or the Flash that Jason was talking about runs almost the same idea of strategy, where you don't want her to be able to kind of do shit like that. So that's why they took it out completely. It was the same thing when they errated Loki back in the day, when it was possible to pop him back up to his countdown clicks and make him invincible.
But the way that she was originally written, if she was the last character on her force, then she would take a damage, basically.
But see, that's the thing, is if you took your other guys off the board.
So if she was unique, then...
You can still take your guys off the board, and she wouldn't be the only person on your force.
I think ultimately what ended up happening with her is that the strategy became put 2 of the White Queens on the board, and then watch your opponent suffer. So now the strategy is you can put both those White Queens on the board, but if those cuckoos die, forget it.
Yeah.
So now we've actually finally gotten through all those OP kit questions. That's all right. You know what? It's good to have the extra voice and the good discussion about this. Next question.
Oh, no. Sorry, one thing before you move on.
Yeah.
The wording on her original power is when White Queen is the only friendly character on the map, deal her one unavoidable damage, and that was her original wording. So the whole, remove from map thing with Sandman still would mean that she'd be the only person on there, so you could get past it anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't the only person on her force. No, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, the problem team for the errata was the double White Witch team.
Right, yeah, of course.
Because you'd play both of them.
That's why I was saying that I think that if they just made her unique, it would have been fine.
All right, so move on to the next question. Marcus Maz asks, which Avengers Assembled chases will be useful/useless in the metagame, and which figures from Age of Ultron are worth hunting? I think we kind of went over Age of Ultron, but Mike, which of the chases from Avengers do you think have the most useful or the most use in the metagame?
None of them. Probably Rick Jones because he's cheap and he does a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, I don't really. Maybe I'm just not seeing it, but I'm not all that excited about any of them in terms of the metagame. I do have the one that I wanted most, which is Rick Jones, so that's as far as it goes for me in terms of the Avengers Assemble set chases.
All right. Jordan?
I mean, I like them. I think they're all solid figures. I don't think any of them are meta. I think the general trend for these chases were overcosted, except for Rick Jones. I think Rick Jones is adequately costed for what he can do. I don't see myself really needing what he does in the meta, to be honest.
Okay. Kenny, your thoughts?
I think Rick Jones is the best one. Has the best chance of being used in competitive play. I think Goliath also. Not as much. The other ones are just way too overcosted and are just for collectors and saying I own them and playing big point games. Yeah. Goliath is somewhat interesting. I know he has that cool trait. He could kind of heal himself and turn into another Hawkeye, so you can transition from a giant beatstick to a ranged beast. So that's probably the only reason why maybe I'll consider him. I think it's all Rick Jones, though. Goliath, maybe.
Yeah. I'd agree with the most part. I do think Goliath, I have to look at his dial again, but I think he's got surprise factor as far as an ID card option because he's a Clint Barton, which means he can be brought in with the Hawkeye card. So that potential surprise, because I'm actually trying to look the character up and see what kind of damage he does on his starting click.
4 damage and attack.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you bring both of them and then see that the Goliath could actually do more in a certain situation, it might be more beneficial to throw him on the board as an idea. And he also has Quake with Giant Reach, right? So if that's a situation you need where his team is crowded in and the defenses aren't particularly high, drop a Quake on them, and nobody likes being quaked.
Click 3 and 4. He's got sidestep for 2 squares, not 3, and he can actually target characters 4 squares in line of fire away. So that could be a little help. You go ahead and do that. Free action turn into a range Hawkeye, and that could be some serious business. But
I think in Golden Age, if you're ever going to play a Hawkeye, just play Goliath because he's 3 points, or he's the same points as Chaos War Hawkeye, and he's got 3 extra clicks of health.
Yeah. Exactly.
You get hit, you turn into the good Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
The best Hawkeye.
The Hawkeye. He's still like the go-to archer to compare all archers to, even in the modern.
Yeah. All right. Next question coming from. I apologize if I am butchering anybody's last name here. Matt Grikunos. I have a question regarding Justin Seyfert. When he gives his Sentinel the free action, is the Sentinel allowed to do any free actions? Sidestep, perplex, outwit before the close or range attack. I believe it's specifically a move action. I think this is a specific rules question that found its way in here. Who's vetting these questions? Who's terrible at their job?
Nobody in that position, dude.
A move
Jim
action
doesn't say
as
for
a
the
free
power
action.
action if he's adjacent to his Sentinel. When he does, his Sentinel may be given a move action as a free action, and then it may be given a close or range combat attack. So there you go. It is
The answer to the question is no.
No, yeah. But you can do that sidestep afterward.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Or
Yeah.
you can set it up the same way you'd run a normal running shot in Perplex before you give Saber the action.
yeah. Kenny, you didn't want to throw in a joke about the sidestep?
I don't want to beat it to the ground.
The horse is dead. Stop hitting it.
We need a dead horse meme.
Precisely, man.
All right. Give me a second to get through these properly. All right. So Jose, all the questions coming from YouTube are linked between Jose Rodriguez and KJ Foster, and Jose didn't bring up the Rock of Eternity for once, so I'll actually give him some time of day. With the change of Turtle, will there be a chance that the Flashes will take a little dip in the metagame? So, yeah, because one of the changes that carries, they made a ruling in regards to that where when the Kingdom Come Flash carries Turtle, you no longer are affected by Turtle just as much as everybody else. So, Jordan, does that kick KC Flash the heck out of the metagame, or is there still potential in that character?
I think it kicks Turtle for the most part out of the metagame more than KC Flash.
Okay.
I think KC Flash still can be maybe thrown a couple ways around. I just think he's expensive, so it has to be piloted right.
Right. Okay. Mike.
Oh, it's sticky effing turtle cheese. How the hell are you supposed to really use that? I mean, maybe I could use it with Kyle and get him to his nasty clicks, and then I'm teleporting. You know, so it doesn't matter for me, but it matters for everybody else. I don't know. I don't know how to make it work, really. It's made Turtle into something that's just ugh. I hate it. I don't like it.
All right. Kenny?
I disagree. I think it makes Turtle a bit better. I think you have to be more creative with your team building and how to utilize him. I was never a big fan of KC Flash because of what Jordan mentioned, 195 points is just way too expensive. It totally kicks him out of the equation, I think. And yeah, I mean, Turtle's probably going to drop a little bit as well, but I don't think he's completely done.
I see Turtle's place still kind of with the Phantom X teams. The teams, because Phantom X is still out there. He's still got potential. And if I'm making it hard for you to get across the board, I think there's something to be said about that. And add that into the already existing Indigo tech with Phantom X, and you've got probably one of the most frustrating teams to try to catch up to. I don't know if anybody is in on that. That's just my thoughts. So that's one. Do you guys think the Age of Ultron feels like another Fear itself, or does it have the potential to be up there in the meta world? And also, what figures in the sealed format of Age of Ultron do you think are going to be considered the picks to pull? Let's get Kenny's opinion on this one first.
Similar to what I said before, I do think Jocasta is a pretty good play. Well, actually, now that I think about it, yeah, you can only possess armor robots. So yeah, if you possess an Ultron, I forgot about that little thing. Monica Chang, Alexis, and if you are lucky and pull at least 2 Ultrons, those are the ones to play.
Okay. Mike, your thoughts? I know we talked about it earlier, but do you want to add on to anything, or?
Modem. That's my song of the day. I like Modem. Modem. Justin Safert. Justin Safert, Modem, in particular.
Yeah.
Robot.
Nothing of high points really stands out in this set. I think the best way to play sealed would be almost to play whatever you can fill your team with of the lowest possible point figures, because all the cheap figures in this set are astounding.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm kind of sticking with a lot of what I said earlier. Although if I pull Ultron Phalanx, I'm going to probably do something stupid like play him at 300 points.
And you will lose.
You know what? Playing a full point weapon or cord worked for me in Warlike, so I stand by it.
That's a difference.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
works for me.
completely different figure, though.
They were.
I played that at my first national.
Yeah, because the Ultron stop click is actually still good. Yeah, I went there. How many ID cards are supposed to be in the OP kit? I think they get 10 of the Iron Mans to give up.
Yeah, they get 10, and they get 10 of the round tables, and then they get 3 of the Grandmasters.
Technically,
Isn't it 4?
Oh, it is 4, sorry.
Yeah, 11 of the participation, 4 of the prizes.
You're right. Jason? Did we lose Jason?
I think we lost Jason.
Well, it's our show now.
All right.
All right, let's get this thing on the road. Let's get started with the real deal here.
All right. Pink powers. How you like him?
I like them pink powers. They match my nipples. No.
Yes, they also used to match my hair.
It's true. They did. Oh man. I've been looking at. I'm a little disappointed in this Age of Ultron set. The sealed so far. I know that's your thing, but I was looking at it more and more. In the sealed that I played in, I pulled 2 She-Hulks and played Modam and 2 She-Hulks, and it was really, really fun. Great combination, and won most of the initiative rolls. Thank you, She-Hulk, for the +2 because I had 2 of them.
That's fun. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. It was the cheerleaders, man. It's a campy, old school set. You can't really take it too seriously. I don't think that there's a really huge meta edge like. War of Light had, as Jason was saying, the Weaponer of Cord. If you pulled the Weaponer of Cord for 211 points, you were winning.
Unless you were me and you crit missed all 3 of your games.
Yeah, it is a dice game. That is a true
worst,
thing.
best pulls I've ever had in a sealed set.
Mm-hmm.
Best combination, best everything. Worst dice ever.
It work that way for me too as well. You give me really good figures in a sealed match, and I'll find a way to lose with crit misses, or my opponent will hit every shape change, every super sense, every impervious roll.
Yeah. Oh.
You give me, stuff that people will never want to play in a sealed, and I don't know, I just make it work.
Yeah, when I pull good, I roll crap. But I played a battle royale not too long ago where there was an Apollo and a KC Flash, and my best figure was full point Doctor. I killed Apollo and KC Flash and Harley Quinn, fucking obliterated everything. But I get good shit.
It's the way it works. It's the way it works.
It's the way the cookie crumbles. We have our next question actually. With a 600 partial sealed Age of Ultron tournament upcoming, with 300 points, Marvel only, I can bring from home. What are your suggestions?
Golden or modern?
It's modern.
Oh, because I was just going to say Centroid.
So I guess
Which, by the way, you can possess with Parallax because he doesn't actually possess Duo. He just has that as a trait.
If you're playing, so 300 from the boosters you pull, and then you could bring 300 from home. Is that?
Yeah, Ultron floor, essentially. Yeah.
I mean, you just got to play the field and go with Avengers, and just try to get a theme team. There's going to be a lot of Avengers. There's going to be a lot of armor robot keywords. So, maybe you get lucky and you pull a Jocasta. You could put her on one of your pieces then. If not, you can at least go for a strong theme. A Captain America from the Avenger Assemble set who can give everyone leadership with his trait.
Yeah.
I would work around the keywords or the characters within the Ultron set, since that's the ones you can't control, but you know more or less what you're going to get.
Yeah, I played a no tactics 300-point game recently with Captain America, Triathlon and 3D Man, just Avengers team, and it was a lot of fun, and it was really actually very effective and usable. It's something that you could add very easily to this current, the Age of Ultron set and make it work very, very well, because once again, we're talking about the Avengers keyword, right? Something that's very, very prevalent in the last couple of sets and probably will return in Nick Fury as well.
I think also another really good idea to do. Mike, I'm actually echoing off of you.
I can't hear it.
It's going up and down and everything.
Okay. I don't think anybody can hear it but you. Kenny, can you hear it?
I heard him a little bit. I couldn't understand what he said, though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyways, I think that the main thing to do, or what I would do without putting much thought or research into the set, I would hope to put more, would go with some really solid attackers. Go for attackers that you will not get in the set, things that do really exclusive things. If you could bring a Banshee to that tournament and then just run support, you could have Banshee dealing out 5 damage a turn, ignoring everything. So, especially with the support, you're going to get support. I think attackers is probably what you're most likely going to be missing from the sealed side, personally.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Jenny?
I agree with him. I mean, the guy knew what he was playing, so I figured he would do some research. But, Jordan makes a very strong point. You could pull nothing but support pieces, so it's not a terrible idea to bring, maybe that 200-point or 150, 175-point beat stick, build the rest of your 300 from home around that to go at it, and then just add the extra 300 on there. So it could turn into a very ugly fight for your opponent where he just takes on everything, or you miss once and he dies, and it's a bad round.
Go Ant-Man Swarm, go!
Just bring an OMA and make it into a temple.
So the next question we have, does the Phantom Stranger from the Flash set have any potential in the current metagame? Let's start with Mike.
Come back to me in a second. I'm gonna
All right, let's go with Jordan.
I don't think he's going to make big splashes, but personally, I more expect to see Question over Phantom Stranger, to be honest.
Yep, the brawler over the big taxi. Kenny, your thoughts?
I agree. I think Question is the more popular and easier of the 3 to field. Phantom Stranger has his uses. Yeah, I don't want to say definite yes or no, but I'm kind of leaning towards no. No.
Yeah, at his upper points, he's too expensive. He's like 175 points for what he's got there, and no, there's no way.
Yeah.
But the 125, you could have some fun. I mean, maybe you can break it. Maybe you can figure out something that we're not seeing here.
All right. Next question, Matthew Hoover. Do you think the upcoming DC set will be better than the current Avengers set? Jordan.
Yes.
See, we got ID cards in Avengers, and while we haven't seen anything game-breaking with them, they can do a whole bunch, and I think they're really exciting. With the trends that these sets have been coming out as, certain figures are really good, and then the rest of the set seems to be lackluster in comparison to, like, Deadpool, so if they continue on the trend, it may very well be just another okay set with some really good figures in the higher-end rarities.
Mike?
I find the disparity between the DC and Marvel sets that I've played in quite vast, and the power creep scene tends to favor the DC sets, from what I've seen, and I've only been around a little while. But
it used to be Marvel.
Yeah.
But now it's DC, and it's been DC for a while.
A big complaint for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a lot of utility out of Marvel anyway.
DC's got to sell boosters, so they got to be better.
That's it.
Marvel's like, we're going to sell boosters anyway, right? Yeah, okay, keep going.
Yeah,
they could honestly make X-Men the crappiest set, and it will sell out everywhere.
Yeah. I personally didn't think GSX was that good, but it's X-Men, and it sold well.
Blasphemy.
Yeah,
Wax as well. Wax was
like
so broken, but that set sold like that.
Yeah.
One last thing about the Age of Ultron set. If you guys are playing and you get a pack that is really, really, really heavy, like I mean heavier than any pack you've ever felt in your life, this is what's in it.
Ant-Man.
This is what's in it. It weighs half a pound, I swear to God. The Modam, just insanely heavy.
Is it the same as like the Captain America when you knew MODOK was in the booster?
Oh, 100%. She looks heavier than MODOK even.
Well, look at her base. You see the base? Look, it's tiny.
Jeez.
Yeah, and that is solid plastic the whole way through.
All right.
Mike,
She
have
falls
you
over
seen
constantly.
MODOK?
No, I haven't. I mean, that's before.
I quite literally would say almost the exact same size. That just looks
really?
to be more solid of a chair, so would weigh actually like more.
Right.
But they're about the same size. Like back in the day when they also
I
had
can
duos,
see it. Yeah. I'm looking at it. It is very, very similar in size.
all you have to do is pick up boosters, and the heaviest ones had duo chases, duo super rares. The super rares always seem to have more plastic than the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Good glory days of clicks.
I think we just lost Jason again.
Yes, we did.
Wonderful. Okay. Let me just see if he sent us a message real quick.
He probably did.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
probably did.
Just touching on the question that was previously asked, I feel DC always has the stronger numbers, while Marvel has the more intricate power support set. So that's the trend I've noticed over the few years I've been playing.
In your limited experience.
I've been playing since Web of Spider-Man, so I haven't been playing since back in the day. That's why.
No, but a lot longer than me anyway.
Yes. I also think that, like I said before, DC has to kind of overdo it a little bit to help sell their boosters. There's a reason why it was called Superman and the Legion of Superheroes, because if you just left Legion of Superheroes with
Nobody would have bought any.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Superman and Wonder Woman. Yeah, I mean, do you think anyone would just buy Wonder Woman by themselves?
That's the same mistake DC made when everyone was like, let's have a Wonder Woman movie, and they're like, nobody would go and see that. Don't be that guy, Kenny. People would buy a Wonder Woman set.
They would buy it a lot less than they would buy the Batman vs Superman.
I want to believe that, but I'm just going off what people would think,
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just fucking.
Yeah.
Did you end up making it to Mexican Nationals this year?
Oh, man, I couldn't make it. I found out about it too short notice, and I just couldn't. No Triple Crown for me.
Right.
Oh, the Trinity.
That sucks. What about Australia? I think you said something about going to Australia.
You know what's funny? I was on my phone, and I saw that it was announced. And, I guess I put my phone down, and I accidentally hit that I was going. So I go to the bathroom, I come back, and I see all these messages like, wow, you're going to Australia? I'm like, no. And my friends are even asking me, are you going to Australia? I'm like, no.
What do you mean? Why?
Yeah, exactly. And then I realized
I kind of turned around in my chair and I went, that guy has dedication. Yeah, absolute.
I would love to go to Australia, but
yeah, that would be really fun. It's
not
really
this
far.
year.
Yeah.
A little far.
Yeah. But you made it to the Great White North.
I did. That was a lot of fun too. I'm looking forward to coming again next year.
Oh, good, man. Yeah, no, it's good to have you guys up here.
Yeah, it's always a good time to have all the good faces out there. We love all the company up there. Hopefully they run it again at the same venue. If not, then we'll have to.
He's potentially talking about doing it in Kingston next year, but it'll still be through Carta Magica. But that's just very, very, very preliminary stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So while we're out and about, another question got asked. Do you think Black Swan will work with the M-Cron Crystal? The M-Cron Crystal is a weird one because I think it actually brings you 2 clicks away back from your KO click.
Time to look it up.
Oh, it's wax. Just go to wax.
Active with PKO.
Okay, wax. There's wax.
It heals you 2 damage, so it brings you 1 before it, so you still have to rely on your opponent to only deal 1 damage.
Yeah.
So it gives you another shot, but it's not a surefire thing.
Isn't the
it's
White
not really-
Lantern power battery just more effective?
I was just thinking the White Lantern ring would just do it.
No, because it says if this click is revealed other than damage from an attack, immediately KO her. So the White Lantern battery is not an attack. Yeah. So Crystal Sliver rather would give you another shot at your opponent hitting you onto it, but that's about it. It's not a surefire thing, and it's very, very difficult to pull off.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I mean, I can see the attraction to actually using her because it's a really interesting mechanic, but not all that usable. A little finesse, man.
Yep. So we just got a question from Aaron Cantu, one of the hosts over at 2 Clicks from KO. Aaron asks, Kenny, do you plan on getting a lap dance for me at Origins Game Fair?
I thought the game was Duck Duck Goose. I'm ready for Duck Duck Goose. I've been practicing. I'll do what it takes. Let's just put it
Oh
my God.
Oh, and on that positive note, I think we're going to wrap up the show. Kenny, thank you for joining us at the last second.
Anytime.
And as far as housekeeping goes, myself, Mike, and possibly Jordan are going to be at Comic Book Addiction on Sunday, June 7th, around noon, for the ROC Winamap event. Winner of that gets, of course, the Winamap prize kit, as well as free entry into provincials at 401 Games. Aaron is quite excited at your answer, by the way, Kenny. Provincials is, of course, 401 Games, June 27th. Is that a 10 o'clock start time, Mike?
Yeah, it's 9 a.m. registration, 10 a.m. start. Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we're going to be this weekend. We look forward to seeing any of you guys out there. Jordan, Mike, thanks for being on the show.
No, always, man.
And hopefully next week I'll be back with a fully functional camera, but I'll be content with the beautiful mic that I have today.
Well, thank you. The other thing that I would add to that is that if you do come to one of the Winamaps, you'll be given what's called a Winamap passport. It'll have 4 slots for stamps. The first one is not applicable anymore because it applied to the Winamap this past weekend. But for every stamp you get on it, you get entered into a raffle to potentially win a 3-foot by 6-foot Mega Map. It's the Monroeville Mall Mega Map. We had it printed on vinyl, and it's just a little something extra from the team putting all this stuff together to you guys. So I hope you can make it out to all these Winamaps and look at Jordan because he's amazing.
All right, guys, and as a quick send-off, don't forget, practice makes your team better.
Better.